It's Batman time! Hello and welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Mafex Batman Hush Poisonivy, and this is another figure I feel like I've been waiting forever on. I love Batman Hush. It's one of my all-time favorite comic books of the Batman line in general, and I've always also been a fan of Poisonivy. I don't know, the green and the red just really work well together, and to be fair, the character is made to be seductive all around, and this figure, man, I mean, she's basically naked. Only have like the dark green part in the middle. Nice. So let's have a look if this figure actually delivers. So for this review, I already put the vines on, but even though that's kind of an accessory, well, it is an accessory, but I think without the vines, the figure just looks boring. But let's have a look at the size real quick. She stands about 15 centimeters, a little over that to the top of the hat, which means we are going up to 6 inches tall. Size comparisons.
Here's Jolter, the SH Figure Art Son Goku, NECA Michelangelo, the Batman animated Poisonivy, SH Figure Arts The Dark Knight Batman. From Mafex, we have the Batman Hush Batman, Batman Hush Hush, and Batman Hush Catwoman. And Darkseid.
Maybe I take the leaves off after all, because just playing around with the figure just a little bit, it's already coming all apart in the leg department. I hate this, but let's have a look at the face sculpt first and foremost. You do have the Jim Lee style, which is important because if you're gonna do a Batman Hush Poisonivy, it better look like the Jim Lee artwork. And I think they delivered on that. He has for me, I always thought he has a little bit more of an anime style to it. Probably the reason why I like it so much. Payne on there is also nice. You have a couple of small leaves and vines going through her hair and the head. Speaking of the hair, beautiful sculpt, lots of waves in there, and goes a little bit to the side. Now, the one thing, under the camera, I feel like it looks a lot different because it's kind of orangey. Just having the figure in hand, it looks fairly orange. Now, looking through the camera, it looks a lot more red, so I don't know how well it will look in the video, but let me tell you, having the figure in hand, I think it's too orange when it should be like blood red. I mean, this is Poisonivy, right? Red and green, it's the name of the game. It's the dominating colors of the figure, and I think that's why it works so well with the pale kind of green skin and then the red just popping. And green and red is always like a good combination. However, what I do really appreciate is the paint itself on the hair. As you can tell, you have like the brighter parts where all the individual kind of strains go down, and that looks really awesome. Props to that. Now, going back to the overall body of the figure, I feel like aesthetically, depending on the pose, it looks like a little bit weird. It does align fairly decent. I don't want to knock it too hard, but I don't know. Like this sausage part in the middle, it's somehow weird, but again, kind of not that much of an issue once you get her into some good poses. And then we go back to the vines. As I told you, they move all around. I mean, on the arms, it's fine because this one is closed. You just kind of slip it up there and it holds together. And even the lower halves, I feel like it snaps around fairly nicely. Now, the one problem I do have with that is I wish they would have just molded and painted the vines on the figure, because you have a beautiful example on the hand over here how it would have looked if that was on the figure already and just painted, and then you just have the green plastic vines. No shading, no difference in color, just green plastic. Slice it on there, big price point, and there you go. Not too happy about that, but the paint on the fingers, what is going on? Like, is there like paint in between her fingers? Looks a little bit rough over there. It seems like there's some leftover paint. But, I mean, the mole on it is great. And I love the little leaf, even though this one also doesn't line up. I guess that's why they didn't put the leaves on the figure. Because if you had to paint it like that, it would have just been too much work, and I didn't want to do that. Also, I just noticed, the hands seem a lot brighter than the rest of the body, right? Maybe part of the lighting, maybe problem with the lighting, but I feel like right now, I can't unsee it now. Alright, so we do have that. Moving down to the hip part, which has some more leaves going around. Also, we have that on the bull back. That part all looks nice. But, once again, if you turn around, you have the butt mode. Yes, but. It looks fine. I mean, the proportions are not exaggerated as it shouldn't be. I am totally fine with that. I'm not trying to be horny, but this figure is all about, you know, it's poison ivy. It's about being sexy and about being seductive, right? Wabam! Well, he kind of can shift it back, but I think like the cheek is way too small. Should have covered up a little bit more ground, and it bothers me. So, and as we can tell, I'm honestly probably taking this crap off because it doesn't stay on in the slightest. Thank you for that. I mean, up here it's fine, but on the legs, these things suck. Doesn't work, doesn't stay on, doesn't stick on. Well, I guess this one doesn't want to leave me. Leave. Ha 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 ha. Oh, yeah, why? Because the lower half works. Because it's closed, you take the foot off, just slide it on there, and it works. Why did they only do that on this side? And none of the others? Alright. Down to shoes. I mean, it looks nice, but once again, the paint could line up a little bit better. And then it just pops off. Okay, woo! For your articulation, first and foremost, well, the hat is already blocked by the collar and also the hair. So, you really don't get that much out of it. Side to side is nice. It's also super loose, as you can tell. I'm just moving it with one finger. And it would go all the way around, but obviously the hair is a no-go with that. But you can also pull a little bit on the neck, you can shift the hat forward. So I get a little bit more out of it. Backwards, still the hair, just the way it's molded. Obviously, I mean, you gotta have it. There's not really any way around it. And if you add the neck, I guess the side-to-side motion does go up quite a bit. Then we have the hinge in the shoulder, and this one is not working out. Hinge in the shoulder, and I think it's on a ball in there. I'm not 100% sure though. Can shift it just a teeny tiny bit, but mainly to move it around. It's nicely covered up. Bring it forward. Okay, not too bad. Then we do have the bicep swivel. We do have a double hinged. Okay. Also, everything is disconnected. Double hinged elbow, and then the hand is just on a ball hinge with a pack, which doesn't have the tightest grip on the hand, as you just seen. For the chest area, also fairly limited, goes back and forth, fair enough, side to side, not really, and swiveling also, it's just too tightly on there. Even if you move it up a little bit, yeah, doesn't really make any movement. Then for the lower half, that works out quite nicely, but it looks freaking ugly, and you don't really have a way to pull the diaper up, so just don't look from the back if you do that. Going forward, well, backwards actually, and then side to side, wow, super nimble, doesn't look great though, and also can be swiveled all the way around. For the legs, you can pull those down, so you do have more range, and you ruin the butt mode a little bit more, but if you want to go for some spicy stuff, right, I know some of you will, I know, and that's fine. Anyway, go out to the side, going to the back, actually, while there's no butt mold hindering it, or not a butt mold that's big enough, and you can also have a little bit of rotation on there. I mean, overall the legs look fairly clean, but also I forgot something that I wanted to mention. The legs are kind of weird, how they kind of like just go inside, like they have like a little bit of an X shape, especially on like one side. Let me line it up real quick. You know, kind of has a weird thing, and then you have the flap down. Why did you do that? Why? Look at this. From the front, it looks freaking ugly. Why do you have the flaps on the side over here? Don't do that. Yeah, I mean to cover the joint, but Jesus, you don't have like flaps like that. That's not how like ankles work. Anyway, where was I? Knees. Seriously? Okay, knees are double hinged, and foot is on another ball hinge. You can bring that forward, and also bring it side to side on the upper half, since the foot disconnects. But let me actually show the foot. Forward, backward, does tilt side to side, and can be swiveled on the upper half, and it's just disconnecting again. Wow, alright, and then we have a toe hinge. Yay. And after all of this, I just had to get up and take a break. I actually just walked around for like 20 minutes just trying to process this. Anyway, we do have a base, which is okay. It's fine, it's like a standard, but I don't like this big part over here. It takes up too much space. But for the rest of it, it's fairly nice and tight, so that's cool. And you have some options to put the figure on there. I like this more sharp clamp and then the more rounded clamp, which you do also for this one specifically. You do also have the good old crotch fondler. Take this piece off, you can see the lower half over there is removable, and you stick this one in, and then you have something that holds on to the crotch of the figure, which you might just do yourself, right? Then we have this pole, is a stripper pole, but no, again, combinable with these piece. You just put that on there, and boom, there you go. You just have the pole. You don't have this sticking out, if that's bothering you. And then we have one single head sculpt, which looks suspiciously a lot like the head sculpt we already have. It's a lot more of a arrogant smirk, and I like it, but that's it. Just the one. Just the one. Then we have an open briefcase with a bunch of cash in there. Has a nice metallic paint job, very shiny, but you cannot close it. You know, there's the hinges, but that doesn't work because you also get a closed briefcase, which has some very cool detail, but I think it's stupid. Why do I think it's stupid? Two. You tell me you couldn't do one briefcase that you could just open and put the... No. You know what? I've kind of checked out. I'm just not gonna lie. You have the fist hands, which don't focus, and also you have the open hands, and finally you have these specific hands to hold onto the briefcase. I don't know why she holds the briefcase so weirdly, but she does. And then you add one more hand with a nice bundle of cash. As you can tell, there's a little bit of a hole in there. I'm not gonna do it on camera because I can't do it, but this hand is specifically to hold the money. Final thoughts. I don't like this figure, but it's not as simple because I like the look of the figure. Overall, posing her and putting her into poses is fun. And once you got her there, put her on the shelf, it's all good. It looks nice. However, getting there is the frustrating part. There's just the hands and feet are completely popping off all the time. The vines that wrap around, specifically the legs, are awful. Like literally, I can't with these. I cannot with these. They do not hold on in the slightest. It floats around, it flips around, it slips off all the freaking time. So I recommend just putting the figure in the pose and then slowly, slightly putting that on there afterwards and hoping it doesn't fall off if you breathe on it wrong. Also, the accessories are the bare freaking minimum. One freaking face? Like with all of this? I think it's not worth the price of admission, and there's probably some decent budget options. I don't really collect DC collectibles, but honestly I'm probably going to have an eye on it. Mafex and the Batman Hush lineup just continue to disappoint. I think the only one I really liked was Catwoman. I think Aswell was pretty good, but other than that, every time I pick up a Mafex figure, I'm going like, oh, this is probably going to be the last one. And I'm not saying they're producing crap, but every time I pick one up, it's disappointing. It should be better. It looks good. Articulation, okay, but there's so many annoying, frustrating parts about it that I just can't recommend it, especially at a relatively high price point. So, that's gonna do it, guys, as usual. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Poison Ivy wants.